Welcome to the Cultural Kultivators podcast by Belay Creative and Cultivate Labs, where we explore the diverse and dynamic world of Filipino-American culture. This episode is guest hosted by another one of our outstanding graduates of our very own Unsung Heroes Youth Podcast program. We launched this program last year with a goal to spotlight the diversity and strength of the next generation, while also offering role models for young listeners. Our talented hosts, with their distinctive perspectives, inject fresh insights into these cultural cultivators' conversations. This second graduate of the Unsung Heroes Youth Program is the exceptional Benedict Del Rosario. Benny is a junior at Summit Shasta High School. During the podcast program, Benny learned new skill sets, gained confidence, and also gained more knowledge of his own Filipino culture. In today's episode, Benny develops a deeper connection to his own Filipino role model, his father, Reynaldo. In this episode, we explore Reynaldo's experiences as a first-generation immigrant and the cultural traditions he carries with him in the diaspora. You can find more information about the Unsung Heroes Youth Podcast program at belaycreative.org.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I'm your host, Benedict Del Rosario, and I'm a junior at Summit Shasta High School. And I wanted to interview Reynaldo Del Rosario, or also my dad, because I wanted to cover an informational podcast digging deeper into Filipino heritage. My dad just turned 65 years old on July 28th and was born and raised in the Philippines. Furthermore, he lived both his perspectives. He spent half of his life in the Philippines and the other half living here in America. With his wise old self, he could really represent as a Filipino American and could share first-hand experience with quality knowledge. Welcome to a podcast dedicated to exploring the rich tapestry of Filipino heritage and tradition. And together, we'll embark on a captivating journey through the vibrant culture that has shaped the Philippines for generations. The Philippines, a nation brimming with captivating tales and enchanting customs, is a melting pot of various influences from its indigenous roots, Spanish colonization, and the mingling of cultures from around the world. From the bustling streets of Manila to the tranquil provinces, we'll traverse and uncover the treasures that lie within its culture. My intention is to unveil the diverse side of the remarkable heritage that has been passed down through the ages. Moreover, we'll shed light on the culinary wonders of the Philippines, a true paradise. From the delectable adobo to the mouth-watering halo-halo, we'll tantalize your taste buds and reveal the unique flavors that make Filipino cuisine so beloved around the globe. So prepare to embark on a remarkable voyage of discovery when the stories of our ancestors come alive and where the tapestry of Filipino heritage unfolds before our very ears. And the Unsung Heroes Youth Podcast program is presented by Cultural Labs and Belay Creative. Thanks, Dad, for letting me interview you for the podcast I'm working on. First off, I want to ask, how was your day?
Good. I did a lot of errands. I drove you to your baseball game, but before that, we went to Gallery Park to do a short practice to prepare you for your game. And I think it worked out because you played good during the game. So the short practice you had, played better.
Can you tell me some background information about you and your life in the Philippines when you were young?
Yeah, I have 3 siblings, 3 sisters, and I'm the only boy in the family.
Okay.
So I went to school. It's just for the boys, St. Andrew's School, during my high school.
Where in the Philippines?
This is in Parañaque, where we live. Probably 40 miles from Manila.
How old were you and what grade were you in that time?
During my high school years, I was 14 on my freshman. So I graduated high school when I was 17.
Okay.
And this was in St. Andrew's School, just for the boys.
Okay.
Yeah, and it's close to where I live. Yeah. And then I went to college, University of the East. I graduated college with a degree of BSBA. That means BSBA is Bachelor of Science in Business Administration, and my major is accounting.
Okay. What was Parañaque like? Can you tell me like the environment?
Okay, Parañaque is it's a small barrio where most of the people who live there, because most of the people that I know were born and raised in Parañaque. So my friends, when we're growing up, there are my friends when I was little until my college days.
You mentioned that you live in a small barrio and most of the people there that were born and raised in Parañaque. And that's just really cool and a good experience overall, because here in America, specifically here in Daly City, when I was growing up in this household, I couldn't really find any neighbors or friends that are my age. And knowing that you've gone through that experience is just really cool. And you probably created a lot of strong bonds and memories with those people or your friends. Can you paint a picture of a typical day in your life in your hometown when you were still in grade school? What scenes, people, or activities would be present?
Well, during school days, we don't have much time to play. So it's a routine. House, school, do your homework. But during summertime, that's where we don't go to school and we have a lot of time to play with my friends. So I have 7 good friends that we stayed together until we become adult. And our typical day was during summer is we always play.
Like what?
I don't know what you call it. It's tumbang press.
Oh, Tubang Preso. I remember you calling it also Tumbalata and Batolata. I remember you introducing me that game when I was little. And you told me it was a Filipino traditional children's game. And the game involved throwing a slipper at a can or a bottle, which one player, the Taya, attempts to guard the slipper from hitting the can. And it's usually played in backyards, parks, or in streets where there's minimal traffic in that area. So it's not like here in America where there's like baseball and football and
No.
soccer.
Oh, well, baseball, yes. We played baseball. But the thing, when at that time when we were playing, because we're poor, we cannot afford to buy bat and baseball gloves. But we improvise. We cut cardboard
Yeah.
and then fold it and then put a rubber band. And that's what we use as a glove. And our ball is not the baseball, it's a tennis ball.
Okay.
And the bat that we use, it's just whatever stick that we can find. And we use it as a baseball bat. So, but we play the game, same as what you're playing here. There's a first base, second base, third base.
So after playing with your friends, or what time did it take place usually when hanging around with your friends?
It's always in the afternoon.
After school?
No,
Yeah.
no, I'm talking about during summer break.
Oh, summer break.
During school, we don't have time to play because we have to do our homework. Then we have to sleep early. Well, Saturday, Sunday when there's no school, yeah, we play and we hang around with my friends. But my favorite month is during summer break. Yeah, when there's no school, I just have to play with my friends, hang out with my friends. After we play around, we eat dinner early.
So you go. So
So
after
I have to go home by 6 o'clock in the afternoon because that's the time we eat.
Okay.
And my mom, which is your grandma, yeah, she's a good cook. So she cooks food for us and she wants us to eat all at the same time.
Can you describe that scene? The dishes on the table and like the conversations that took place?
Well, the food, we have our favorite, not only me, even my siblings. We like the sinigang, na baboy, which is the pork sinigang. And then that one has a soup. And then your grandma will also cook, what they call this, fried fish or fried beef or fried pork to go along with the sinigang.
Okay.
And sometimes your lola also cook nilaga. That's one of our favorite dish too. And adobo. You're familiar with those food because your mom is cooking those food and that's your favorite too, right? Well, the dinner is just a normal thing. We eat, talk about anything. Yeah.
Okay, Dad, what can you say about the Filipino heritage?
Oh, speaking about Filipino heritage, Philippines was colonized by Spain for 300 years. Imagine 300 years. So the Spain has a lot of influence with the Filipino lives. So how we lived then and how we live now, they have a big influence on our custom and tradition. Imagine 300 years they colonized us. That's why there are some words that we thought Filipino, but actually they're Spanish. Example is cuchara, tinidor. I thought those are Tagalog words, but actually it came from a Spanish word. With the cuchara, tinidor, the basura, pinto, the door, mesa, the table. So we adapted a lot of Spanish life. Being a Christian, they introduced that to the Philippines. And we have this celebration. We call it fiesta. It's a religious feast. We celebrate that every year to honor our patron saints. So we have this town fiesta during town fiesta. It's a fun day for us because Filipino are looking forward to this event. So day before the fiesta, they're busy cooking food and decorating their house and even the streets. The people decorated the streets with these, what do you call these, the pennant or the small flags. You can see, just like in Mexico, when they do their event, they put the banderas, no, not banderas, probably banderas.
What's that?
It's they cut a small flag or a diamond and then put it on a string.
Okay.
And then that's how they decorate the street.
You mentioned that the Philippines were colonized for 300 years. What happened during that whole era? What happened during the Spanish time when the Philippines was getting colonized by Spain?
Well, the Philippines, any countries that's being colonized or influenced by other countries, they don't like it. That's why they revolt against the colonizing country. So we have this, we call it a hero. I learned it from school. His name is Dr. Jose Rizal. He doesn't agree the way the Spaniards or the Spanish treat the Filipino and force them to do things that they don't like. So he's the brain of the revolutionary. He's a doctor, an eye doctor, and he's very intelligent. So he thinks on how they will revolt against the Spaniards. And there is this guy, he's the strength of the Philippines. He's also a hero. His name is Andres Bonifacio. He led the Philippine Revolution. They call it their band of Filipino Revolutionary. They call their name as KKK. KK in the Philippines means kataas-taasan, kagalang-galangan, katipunan ng mga anak ng bayan. In English, which means the Supreme and Honorable Association of the Children of the Nation. So they revolt against the Spaniards. And eventually, they put what they call this. They were able to free us from Spain because of this revolution. So I just learned that from school. Those are the heroes.
Okay. Speaking about heroes, do you have a hero yourself?
You mean in my family?
Yeah, within your family?
No, I won't call it a hero, but I look up to this person. He's my uncle, the oldest brother of your Lola, of your grandma. His name is Pepe. Pepe is a brave man. during the Japanese invasion, from what I learned from Lola, that he joined the guerrilla to fight against Japanese army, and I think he has a position in that guerrilla movement, if not a captain or a sergeant, something like that. But he has a rank in the guerrilla movement, and then after the war ended, he became a police chief in our town.
Oh.
Yes, yeah, that's why I look up to him, because he's well respected in our place. He became a police chief. What's a police chief, right?
Yeah.
Just like here in America, they're up there. And he's a very disciplined person. And he took care of the whole family, because he was the oldest. And he looked after his siblings.
Okay. Okay, can you share any more stories about our Filipino heritage?
Well, going back to heritage, I would say Filipino heritage, about the Filipino folk dances.
Okay.
So I can remember three Filipino folk dance: the tinikling,
Yeah.
the famous one, the tinikling, wherein they use a bamboo, and the dancers, they hop on between the bamboo. We have the itik-itik dance. Itik, they imitate the duck moves. They wave, they swing, they fly. There's another Filipino folk dance. And pandango sa ilaw. Pandango sa ilaw is the dancers. They're holding a candle in, I think, a glass, a candle glass, and they dance with that candle. And you will be amazed. It doesn't fall. They turn, they bow, and they were holding in both hands this candle. And that's the pandango sa ilaw dance. I know there's some more folk dances, but that's the famous one that I can remember. Oh, there's another one. I don't know, the bao dance. They have this coconut shell. They use this.
As like a drum?
Yes, no, but the girls were wearing it as their bra.
Okay.
And they were holding two coconut shell on their hands, and then they make sounds of it. So, well, I'm not a good dancer, so I don't know how to dance this. But when I was during my elementary school days, they teach us this dance. Another thing about the heritage, Filipino heritage, our customs and tradition, is the bayanihan.
What does that mean?
Well, bayanihan means neighbor helping your neighbor. They help each other. Just like when, let's say, my neighbor bought a new land around the town or area, and they have to move there to the new land. The town folks will help the neighbor moving to carry the house and store
Carry
it.
the house?
Yes, because back then it's just a nipa hat. The foundation are just bamboo, and so they will move the house. They carry it. The town folks, especially the men and boys, carry it and carry the nipa hat and then bring it to the new place where the neighbor is gonna live. So that's a bayanihan, and also helping out during, say, a wedding party or a big event. They help with the cooking, cleaning the place, setting up tables. That's part of the bayanihan, as far as I remember. But I don't think nowadays it's still in existence in the Philippines, the bayanihan, because the culture or the heritage has shifted.
Is this caused due to modernization and globalization?
Yeah, those heritage, although it's still there, but it's not that being practiced or it's still there, but it's not as commonly practiced by the people. Not anymore because of the modernization. Now, just like here in America, when you're going to move to a new place or a new house, you rent a U-Haul or a mover, and then you pay. The bayanihan, no, your neighbor, the town folks will help you for free, and without any condition. Yeah, I miss that. I miss those heritage and tradition. Although I believe it's still there, but it's not as commonly practiced or done anymore back there in the Philippines. Yeah, it's sad. Yeah, but we're in the 20th century now, so we live in a modern country. Yeah, but I still have some people. They still have that old custom and tradition that we inherited from Spain,
Yeah.
especially during Christmas season, the Christmas time. We celebrate the Christmas Eve, the Noche Buena, and the New Year's Eve, the Medianoche. Okay, my grandfather, your great-grandfather, he made it a point during Christmas Eve that the whole family, my dad, and my dad's siblings, family, we're gonna eat all together during Christmas Eve, 12 midnight. On my grandfather and my grandmother, they will set up a long table. So my dad and his sister and their children, we're gonna sit and eat the midnight dinner, the Noche Buena.
I know you still did. I know you showed it to us, your kids.
Yes, I'm carrying
Carrying
that
the
tradition that my grandfather tell on me, that during Christmas Eve Christmas Eve, no one will go to other places. You have to stay in the house and celebrate the Christmas with your family. I'm carrying that tradition, as you may have noticed. Every Christmas Eve, we eat all together, and you cannot open your gift until you finish eating, right? Because that's what my grandfather and my grandmother taught us back then. When I was a kid, I always sneak and say, I try to open my gift, but they won't allow me until I finish eating my dinner, the Noche Buena. And we have a set of food that we prepare during Noche Buena. This is every year. We don't change it, and we carry it here. Your mom is doing the same food or serve the same food as we were eating back then when we were little. Yeah.
Can you paint a picture of what it would look like the dinner table? Not the dinner table, but like the table where the
Yeah. Well, at that time, it's only my grandmother who cooked and prepare all the food that we're gonna eat for the Noche Buena. And she started early.
What time?
Oh, maybe early in the morning, because the food that we eat or she prepared during Noche Buena is the nilaga, the beef broth, the soup, the nilaga, the asado. Asado, I think it's a Spanish dish. Well, that's another influence by Spain on the food. So nilaga, asado, the ham, the big ham, the legs of the cow. It's a ham. And the cheese, queso de bola. What else? I think that's it. The nilaga, the asado,
The bread?
the jamon, the queso de bola, the cheese, and sliced bread. Yeah, and now that's what we eat also, right?
Yeah.
Same thing as what my grandparents feed us during Noche Buena. And just like I said, you cannot go to other places to celebrate the Christmas Eve. You have to be in the house, and that's I'm plan on doing and to continue. I hope you're gonna do the same when you have your own family, to carry this tradition. This is very important to me, and I like it. Yeah, among our siblings, I'm the only one who's doing this. My three sisters, they don't do their family Noche Buena, but us, me. I like this tradition, so I want to carry this, and I want you to carry this tradition when you have your own family. Yeah,
You think this was influenced by?
Spain.
It was influenced.
I believe so.
Okay.
Yes, I believe so.
You remember when you were talking about the what was it the hut? What do you call it?
Nipahat, the house.
The
Bayanihan.
Bayanihan. What was it? It stopped.
No, it's the people. I think now in the bar, they don't do it.
It wasn't just not commonly practiced anymore.
Not anymore, and because now they're only maybe in the province.
Okay.
But not in Manila, because houses now in Manila are concrete. Maybe in the province, they're still doing it, but it's not that often.
To keep talking about commonly practicing, are there any specific religious or spiritual beliefs that are commonly practiced in the Filipino community?
Yes, Catholicism.
Okay.
This was also introduced by Spain. They introduced us to Catholicism, about being a Christian, about God, going to church, celebrating Christmas. This is an influence by Spain. Yeah. Also during Christmas, there's this Filipino tradition that we do the simbang gabi, the
What's that?
midnight. That's a midnight mass. Filipino, 10 days before Christmas.
Oh, yeah. I remember that every night with the Buena Noche or Noche
Not
Buena,
Buena. Before that, you have to
we go to mass Christmas Eve on the 24th.
Yes, that's
and
the
go-
15th day. Yes.
And go to mass at 12 a.m. How come we couldn't go the next day or something? Or like, how come we had to go at 12 a.m.?
Because that's what my grandparents teach us, to welcome the Christmas day. That time, the transition from December 24th to December 25th. So we attend always the midnight mass. But prior to the midnight mass, the Simbang Gabi, this is a unique tradition of the Filipino, that they go to church every night until the 15th day, which is the 24th. You have to complete this. This is hard. I only completed the Simbang Gabi not so many times, but I tried to when I was younger. But we don't miss the midnight mass on the 24th.
Okay.
Yeah, midnight mass, except when there was COVID. Yeah, there's no church were not open at that time, but we continue to do that just recently. Yeah.
Wait, is it only practiced by Catholic Filipinos celebrating the resurrection of Jesus on Easter?
I think so. I believe so. Yeah, it's the Catholicism, because other religion, they have a different belief and understanding about Jesus. So it's about your belief, religious belief. So, but the Jesus, the resurrection of Jesus, is about it's Catholicism.
Now, what do you think about young Filipinos today and how they embrace and celebrate their cultural heritage in a modern context?
I think, in my opinion, young Filipinos today, they lost the value of this tradition. They don't practice it anymore. They're
Why do you
so
think?
modernized now. But I think some or few still values this tradition.
Why do you
I
think?
think they get lost with this heritage and tradition, especially kids that born here in the U.S. Because they never experienced that or practiced that in their, or maybe their parents, they don't teach them this heritage and culture and tradition. That's why it's somehow got lost. with these young Filipinos, the values of this. But this question, I should be throwing you this question. You should be answering this question. How are you embracing and celebrating the cultural heritage in these modern days?
Why are you asking me? I'm the person that's supposed to be interviewing you.
Because you represent the young ones, the young Filipino today. I told you it's the values and tradition and the heritage I learned are still within me. I try to practice and continue to do it. So, but somehow it's got lost on the young generation like you. So you have to tell me what's your opinion. How would you embrace it and celebrate? Do you still celebrate the Filipino heritage?
Yeah, of course. I still embrace and celebrate the cultural heritage because of you. Because you've been influencing me to celebrate this and continue on the family traditions and our Filipino roots.
Yes. Just like I said, maybe a few, and that's us, a few.
Yeah.
So I want you to do this and continue to do this Filipino heritage and culture and traditions. So
Yeah, it's very important to not lose this tradition.
yes, I agree, Benedict. I agree. This will keep the families closer together with these traditions and culture. It's a close knit family if you continue to practice and celebrate the old traditions and culture that I've learned, which is now I am passing it to you, and I want you to continue this and keep this in mind. Just like the celebrating Christmas, the Simbang Gabi, the midnight Noche Buena, and the New Year, the Medianoche. I want you to continue this. I don't want this be lost in our family. You know. And I hope your sisters too will embrace and continue to do this Filipino heritage.
What about your siblings? Do they do these traditions?
No, I don't think so. They're too modern now, I think. Yeah.
So,
But for me, it's important.
so what was the transition like from the Philippines to here in America? Like, give us more a background.
Yeah,
on
it's
your-
hard.
on your
It's
transition.
hard. It's hard for me because it's when I migrated here in the U.S., I had to adapt
When-
the U.S. way of living.
When did you migrate?
1988, when I migrated to the U.S., and at that time, I new to the U.S. way of living, so I struggled. When I migrated to the U.S., I struggled a little bit because I find it a hard time to adapt in the U.S. way of living. When I got here, I don't have a job. So, although before I migrated, I told you I graduated with a BSBA degree, major in accounting. I work in one of the prestigious bank in the Philippines. But when I get here in the U.S., I started. My first job here was I deliver newspaper, the New York Times. I do this at nighttime. I drive around in the Marin County. I deliver the newspaper, and at the same time, I work my second job in a hotel, in a front desk. I am charged of checking in, checking out customers. And then finally, I got lucky and got hired, found a new, better job, a stable one in a freight forwarding business. I worked there for 12 years. I became a supervisor. And then I moved on until I applied to the University of California, San Francisco. I was hired there as an accounting clerk until I became a supervisor. Yeah.
So it sounds like you got pretty stable at a good pace here, or no?
Yeah. Well, no, there was progress, improvement, but it took a while before I reached that comfort zone, I would say.
When you were in your not comfortable zone, what were you doing? Like, were did you migrate with your parents here?
No, my parents are already here when I migrated. So it's only, and my two siblings, my two sisters, they were already here in the U.S. So I migrated here by myself. I but I lived in my sister's house with my parents when I first got here, but only for 6 months because I moved out and rented a room with my cousin in Daly City. I struggled a little bit and I really work hard, yes, to make ends meet because I don't want to be so dependent to my parent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How has the Filipino diaspora contributed? Wait, I don't like that. Okay, Dad. One of my last questions to you. How has the Filipino diaspora contributed to the preservation and evolution of the Filipino heritage?
What is diaspora? I don't know the meaning of diaspora. Can you tell me more
Diaspora
about that?
is the dispersion or like spread of a people from the original homeland. So Filipino
Migrating to other places, to other countries.
from their homeland.
And then you said the preservation,
And evolution of
evolution of Filipino heritage. I don't think it's still they 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 still prioritize about the preserving and practicing the Filipino heritage because people from the Philippines migrated to other country to seek greener pasture because the life in the Philippines is so hard, it's so poor. So people migrated to other country to have a better life. So their priority is to earn money, and somehow the heritage is not their priority anymore. So they don't practice it anymore, or they don't preserve or value it anymore because they have to work. They have to earn money and send money to the Philippines to support their family. But there are a few people that still value this and they still want to carry this on. So they still preserve it. And I think it's better for you, Benedict, and maybe for me too, that we should go and attend these festivities, the Filipino heritage. So we're gonna learn more about the Filipino heritage. We're gonna value, and we're still gonna continue to practice and exercise. So this won't get lost. Yeah. Mm.
That's why I joined this podcast. My intention in joining this podcast was to get a deeper understanding of our Filipino culture while learning a new skill set, talking,
That's good.
interviewing, and while, getting to understand more of you and our Filipino roots.
That's good, Benedict. I think you should, yeah, I it's good that you joined this podcast, and I would recommend that you should invite your Filipino friends to join this one too. So you spread out the to carry on this Filipino heritage, so it won't get lost down the road. So it's good that you joined this, and you should be inviting your friends to do the same. And if you find out any Filipino cultural events, Filipino heritage, because once in a while they do it here, or once in a year they do it here in the U.S., we should be attending it. So you're gonna learn more, and at the same time, me too. So I can remember the Filipino heritage, culture, tradition, and culture that somehow I forget.
If you had the chance, who would you interview? Someone like this interview? Lonik?
Dononik is too old, yeah, but some other people, the parents, especially who just migrated, who just recently migrated here in the U.S. If someone that's a good source of information about the Filipino heritage, you should interview these older people that just migrated here in the U.S. Yeah.
Okay, Dad. I think we reached the end of our interview. I want to thank you for your time and your knowledge, and you were able to share it with me.
Well, I wish I could tell you more candidly about the Filipino culture and heritage. Some of them I may have forgotten. That's why I want. This is good for me too.
Jogging your head.
Yes, and remembering. So I enjoyed this discussion. Yeah. Thank you too.
Not only you, Dad, I want to thank, but I want to thank the listeners that reached up until this point of the podcast. Thank you for being a dedicated listener of our podcast. Your commitment and support in listening to our entire podcast episode means a lot. And we are truly grateful for your unwavering enthusiasm. In this interview, my dad covered his individual background, elucidating listeners about his experience being a Filipino American. He displayed his impressions of the modernization of the Philippines. First, we began by highlighting the diverse heritage of the people of Philippines, which draws influences from indigenous traditions, Spanish colonization, and various Asian cultures. This unique blend has shaped Filipino cuisine, language, music, dance, and religious practices, creating a vibrant culture. We also discussed how modernization has impacted Filipino society and the challenges it presents with the diaspora and globalization. The Philippines has witnessed rapid urbanization and a shift towards a more westernized lifestyle. This has resulted in the emergence of a generation that is both proud of its heritage and eager to embrace modern ideas and trends. Furthermore, we explored the importance of preserving Filipino traditions and heritage in the face of modernization. We discussed efforts to promote cultural awareness and appreciation, such as cultural festivals, museums, and educational programs. These initiatives play a crucial role in preserving Filipino identity and fostering a sense of pride among the younger generation. Additionally, we highlighted the significance of Filipino diaspora communities in spreading awareness about Filipino heritage around the world. Through their cultural events, organizations, and social media platforms, overseas Filipinos are actively contributing to the preservation and celebration of their heritage. Overall, our conversation shed light between Filipino heritage and modernization, while emphasizing the importance of valuing and preserving the rich cultural legacy of the Philippines.
I really appreciated this conversation with Benny and his dad. One takeaway from this conversation that I really enjoyed was the lesson his father gave of the resilience of our people and our ability to revolt against our oppressors. The Philippines' history of colonization by Spain and the subsequent resistance led by individuals like Dr. Jose Rizal and Andres Bonifacio illustrates how a nation can unite against colonial forces. Their conversation also highlighted the role of personal heroes like Benny's great uncle, Pepe, who demonstrated resilience by actively participating in the guerrilla movement against the Japanese invasion. This reminds me of my own family history, where my grandmother was a guerrilla fighter during World War II. In January 1942, my grandma's senior year of college was interrupted by the invasion of the Japanese. She was actually forced to leave campus and flee to the mountains for safety. At this time, all the coastal towns were under Japanese control in the Philippines, and my grandma Estrella eventually returned to her hometown of Dipolog to find even more Japanese there. She eventually organized an underground resistance against the Japanese and helped to overtake them with the American soldiers. See, these family stories underscore the idea that individuals, whether on a national or even personal level, can play a crucial role in resisting oppression and shaping the course of history. Overall, this lesson emphasizes the power of collective and individual resilience in the face of oppression and colonialism. Their conversation reflects the importance of intersectionality and knowing our family roots. Benny's dad expressed his commitment to preserving their own cultural traditions, specifically those related to Christmas Eve. I love how he described the family's yearly Noche Buena Fiesta feast, highlighting dishes like nilaga, the Filipino beef bone marrow soup, and the importance of staying together as a family during this Christmas season. I think the importance of preserving and passing down cultural practices across generations is important. And with a Christmas just around the corner, I'm actually thinking of my own family traditions. Like, which ones do I want to pass down to my son? And which ones are we actually going to intentionally decolonize and make our own? Listening to their conversation today, I really appreciated Del Rosario's tradition of putting family and food as a priority on Christmas Eve, instead of consumerism and gifts like most American families. And participating in cultural traditions, I think, provides individuals with a sense of identity and belonging. It helps us understand our roots. It fosters a connection to our own cultural and even personal family histories. So I hope this episode today and this conversation with Benny and his dad encourages all of us to dig just a little deeper with our elders this holiday season, uncovering something new about our own traditions and our own roots. I'm excited to announce that Belay Creative will continue our Unsung Heroes podcast program next summer. We aim to teach youth in the Bay Area how to produce their very own podcasts. And we are giving 10 high school youth the opportunity to attend a summer program of workshops to learn how to interview, research, edit, and produce your own podcast.
What I enjoyed most about this program is talking to my dad and strengthen our bond together. And my biggest lesson or takeaway that I got from this program, Unsung Heroes, is the new skill sets it offered, such as speaking, interviewing, and most of all, strengthening and finding my voice, which I could share my voice and share some positive thoughts and knowledge.
You can find more information about our Unsung Heroes Youth Podcast program, and teens can apply for a full scholarship at belaycreative.org. Creative with a K. This podcast is co-produced by John Reyes and Belay Creative and is a product of Cultivate Labs. Stay in touch at belaycreative.org. And from all of us at Cultivate Labs, happy holidays and have a fantastic, magical new year.